All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I will soon, I mean, I know more people will join yet,
Okay.
but okay. I want to welcome those of you that have joined us already. So you want to sell online, huh? And it's an e-commerce primer. We have our presenter today is Rob Stutzman. He's a Score Boston subject matter expert. And e-commerce is one of those areas. So we're in for a good presentation today, full with lots of information. So for those of you that don't know about Score, I'm going to do a brief intro for that. Score offers training via webinars or workshops. We offer lots of materials and tools for people to use. And most importantly, we offer mentoring. That mentoring is always free and confidential. And our mentors are volunteers who are looking to give back to the community, and they come with a wide range of expertise and experiences. There is no limit. You may meet with a mentor as often as is necessary, and some clients meet with their mentor over the years. You can also find that you will meet with more than one mentor as your needs change as a business owner. Should we need to, Score is a national organization, and we can pull from our volunteer database, which, as you can see, is a large number. So if necessary, we have that option available to us as well. You might be wondering, how do I get a mentor? Well, super easy. You can go to the websites listed there. Those are all the websites in our district. I will put those in chat after my intro. And you will find a mentor button that will allow you to register for one. Or you can put a note in chat, and I will make sure that your chapter connects with you. Or you can send me an email, and my email address is on my little video picture, and it's outreach@scoreboston.org. I'll also put that in chat after my intro. If you already have a mentor and it's been a while since you've talked to them, reach out. Let them know what your current plans are, your new ideas, bounce ideas off of them. They're, fantastic. They love to meet again with their previous clients. Okay. Sorry, my little transcript button keeps getting in the way of my slide button. We are going to utilize Q&A. It allows us to keep track of those questions. Chat for comments, absolutely. But if you can put your questions in Q&A, that's helpful to me. Also note, because I had this situation yesterday, if you submit a question anonymously and then submit a follow-up question, it is difficult for me to tell which questions go together. So, and certainly if you want to do it anonymously, that's fine. But it does, if you think there's going to be multiple steps to your question, it's helpful to me if you can keep your name on it. Okay. I'm going to stop my share and turn it over to Rob.
Thank you, Teresa, and good day, everybody. We're so glad you could join us here on this Friday. Hopefully the sun is shining where you are. It's a beautiful day out there. I am going to stop sharing for a second because I have the wrong presentation up. Stand by. Bear with me just for a moment.
That's not a problem. So while he's working on that, we are recording today, and I will put the link for where you can find that recording in the chat.
Okay, what we'd like to do first thing, we want to make this an interactive session. So what I've asked Teresa to do is to set up a poll. It's a 3-question poll. So Teresa, while you bring that up, go ahead and fill that out. And while you're filling that out, let me give you a little bit of a background of myself. I'm a 30-year veteran of MCI Verizon. And while I was there, I had an opportunity to lead global teams and marketing initiatives. And it was really a fabulous career. I had an opportunity to move around the company to do a variety of different things. And so my background is in sales and marketing. When I retired from Verizon, I started an LLC of my own, and I'm the founder and principal of it. And it's to help small businesses and nonprofits with their marketing initiatives and being strategic with their marketing initiatives. And I'm also a subject matter expert with SCORE Boston. And in SCORE, you have mentors, but then there are also people that hold areas of speciality in different subjects, and they act as subject matter experts. So I support the 80-some mentors within SCORE Boston as they are out talking with their clients. So with that, let's close the poll down and see how we did. Okay, for the first question, which e-commerce platform have you personally used the most? Not surprising. Amazon is at the top of that list. It is the leader in the industry. Very curious that eBay is not there. Shopify is also represented, as Etsy and Facebook and other. For those that clicked on other, what are some of the platforms that you are using out there outside of the ones that you see listed? Just go ahead and put that in the chat. Okay, do we have the result of the second question?
Yep, it's right there. Second question should be showing. If you scroll down?
Okay.
So it's which e-commerce platform have you installed or are considering installing?
There it is. Okay.
Yeah?
Which
Okay.
e-commerce platform have you installed or consider installing? Amazon, again, at the top of the list. Also interesting that Etsy and Facebook Marketplace are two that come in, as well as Google Shopping. So people are considering other platforms outside of Amazon. And then for the third question, which e-commerce platform do you like the best? Interesting that Amazon is at the top of that list. They certainly have been the leader out there, and they are extremely customer focused. And so they've got a very close following. So let's take a look at some of the other platforms that people are using out there. WooCommerce, okay, yeah, WooCommerce, which is often used with WordPress. There are a variety of different e-commerce platforms that are out there, each with its different unique features and benefits, and which we'll cover in our talk today. Okay, so our agenda for today, what we want to do is we want to define e-commerce. We want to review each of the top major platforms. We're going to define the platform, the key elements, some use cases and benefits, costs. And then we want to work on choosing the right platform and looking ahead to the future. E-commerce really is not that new. It's been around for many, many years. And to define e-commerce, it simply is the activity of electronically buying or selling of products and online services over the internet. E-commerce and mobile e-commerce, which has been growing, have dramatically changed the way brands reach customers, making it faster and easier for consumers to make purchases on the fly while avoiding the hassles of going to the store. So e-commerce, certainly in this era of pandemic, has become extremely popular because of the fact that people would much prefer to purchase things online than to go to the store. This past holiday season, I ended up doing about 90% of my shopping online. I think I went into 2 stores while out shopping, and it was just extremely efficient for me to do that over e-commerce. So why do small businesses use e-commerce? One of the reasons is for what's a big word here, disintermediation. And what disintermediation simply means is cutting out the middleman. It used to be that when you produced a product, you took that product, you sold it to a wholesaler. That wholesaler then turned around and sold it to a retailer, and that retailer ended up selling it to the consumer. With e-commerce and the advent of e-commerce, you now have the ability and the opportunity to take your product direct to the consumer, and they can see and interact with you very directly. People have used e-commerce for market research. It's now very simple today to not only see what the perception of your product out there, but what your market is doing. What are the trends that are going on within the market out there? It gives companies the ability to do brand testing. I could take and experiment with different products and services and put different things out there to see what's popular. And I could do even A and B testing of, I have a particular brand here and I might want to do a different type of brand over there. You can do that very easily with e-commerce. Competitive analysis and market analysis are also very easy and straightforward today with e-commerce. Today I can go in, I can search, I can find my competition out there. I can see what they're selling. I can see how they're selling. I can see what platforms they're on. I can see their price points. And so I could do a very quick competitive analysis and market analysis as a result. If I'm launching a new product, e-commerce gives me the ability to launch that product relatively inexpensively compared to the traditional way that products were sold and launched. In the past, I'd have to get a product, I'd have to create inventory, I'd have to get that inventory out there into a store just to see if anybody was interested. Now I can take that same kind of product information, put it online through e-commerce. I begin to see if my product is popular or not with consumers that are out there. But ultimately, the reason people are bringing e-commerce in is to drive top-line revenue growth. So why is e-commerce so important? It's not only because it's growing, not only because more purchases are made online every year, but culture and society are adapting to it. If you think back to days before Amazon, it used to be that you would have to go to a variety of different stores if you wanted to do price comparison between different stores. Now you could do it relatively easy on Amazon as well as other platforms. And it's to a point now where people have gotten to a point where they'll go into a store, they'll see an item, they'll pick up that item, they'll hold it, they'll understand it. They maybe talk to somebody there about it and get sold on the product, but only to turn around and order that product on Amazon because on Amazon it's less expensive. And so there's this interesting dichotomy between brick and mortar and e-commerce. Traditional retail has not been driven out of business, but it's been significantly impacted because the consumer buying behavior has changed. E-commerce is important for small businesses because they're able to gain global reach. Now you could put a product or service out there. It may address your particular local market, but it can also be picked up and observed from international markets. And you can find yourself selling to consumers outside of the US. When it's done well, it's a differentiator. We probably have all gone on the internet. We've seen really good stores. We've probably seen some other stores that are not so great, not unlike the brick and mortar stores. Which kind of store are you more apt to walk into in a brick and mortar store? But the one that's got nice signage, it's got things well organized, they've got people, very helpful people on the inside. Well, the same holds true for e-commerce. If your storefront on the internet is attractive and if it's helpful, if you have tools and techniques within your store to provide customer service, that's going to bring customers back again. And the reason e-commerce is important is because your competition out there probably has embraced it. All right, so before we jump in and talk about what I call the big six of e-commerce, I just want to pause and just see if there are any questions. Teresa, do we have any questions at this point?
Not quite yet. We'll wait.
Okay, great. So let's go in and talk about the different platforms. Amazon, it is the leading e-commerce platform, bar none. With revenues over $469 billion, they are far and away the most influential and economic and cultural forces in the world, as well as being one of the world's most valuable brand. They've made their reputation and they've gotten their success from being the great disruptor. What they do is they come into well-established industries, and with technological innovation and mass scale, they disrupt those industries. It started with the book industry. They came in and totally redefined how books are sold, and nearly drove companies like Barnes and Noble out of business. But they established themselves as a way to sell and purchase books on the internet. And then from there, they moved on to other goods and services, so that today, even the mere mention of Amazon thinking about getting into different industries puts those industries on alert that they are about to be disrupted, because Amazon just has such incredible clout out there. What people don't realize is that Amazon can be used for business-to-business purchases in addition to business-to-consumer. We may use Amazon to sell, to purchase items for ourselves, as consumers, but there's also a whole marketplace within Amazon where businesses can sell to businesses. And so they are encroaching further and further into the way commerce is done, not only between consumers, but also between businesses. At 469 billion revenues, which are up from 21.7 from a year earlier. By comparison, Walmart, which is the largest brick and mortar entity out there, had revenues of 559 billion, but were only up 6.7 from a year earlier. So it's only a matter of time until Amazon overtakes Walmart in retail sales, period. When you look at the key elements of Amazon, what it provides is it provides listings out there. When clients go to Amazon, and I'll just wanted to bring it up here real quick. When you go to Amazon, you're met with a search bar up here, but you're given categories of different things you can purchase along the way. You're giving photos and special deals and advertising that comes there. But people that come to Amazon far and away come in search of something. And so they're searching for items. And Amazon has 12 million products and services on there. And just to show you the breadth of it, put within the chat some really obscure products or services that you can think of that you wonder if Amazon carries it. And go ahead and put that in the chat window. Okay, we got Newland markers. And there you go. Newland markers. I've got a variety that I could choose from. Amazon gives me a variety of companies that I could purchase those markers from. And it gives me the ability to purchase it right away. So right here, I can do my price comparison. When I step into Amazon, it's going to give me a product description. There's pictures, there's videos that are there. There's a description of the item. Further down, I get reviews of the item, customer reviews. And then I have the ability to add it to the cart or buy now. When I hit buy now, it just automatically goes to my credit card and the item is on its way back to me. So listings, fulfillment. There's two ways that goods can be fulfilled. Goods can be fulfilled by the seller. So when the person purchases the item, the information gets passed over to the seller, and the seller ships the item to the user out there. But Amazon puts a shipping cost on the item so that the seller doesn't have to worry about negotiating shipping with the seller. Amazon puts that on there. Or an item can be fulfilled by Amazon. If it's fulfilled by Amazon, then Amazon takes that item, they package it, they ship it out, they handle customer service, they handle refunds that are needed as well. Amazon's clear advantage over the others is their incredible customer service. We probably all have received an item that's been shipped to us. And not only do we get notified over and over about the progress of the shipping of that item, but even that when that item arrives to us, they take a photograph of where the item is and we can go and find the item, which is just incredible customer service. If you run into an issue with Amazon, their customer service is very responsive. They realize that the customer is king, and so they're very good to work with in resolving issues with clients. If you are a prime customer of Amazon, you get even more enhanced customer service from Amazon as a result. For those that are nonprofits out there, a little known fact, Amazon has an option called smile.amazon.com. And what that provides to nonprofits is that if customers go to that site, smile.amazon.com, and purchase an item, and virtually every item that is available in the normal Amazon site is available in the smile.amazon.com site. But when a sale is made, 0.5% of that sale goes to that nonprofit. Now, the onus is on the nonprofit to advertise the smile.amazon.com to get people to go to that site. But if they do, it's a way for them to get some kind of anytime they get additional sources of revenue, it's always great. So Amazon provides that for nonprofits. They also have a Seller Central site that helps and it works with the sellers that are out there to ensure that they are understanding their what's coming in as far as sales and pricing and inventory and shipping. It's their portal that they use to set sellers up and it allows sellers to manage their goods and services within the Amazon platform. The costs for individual sellers, it's 99 cents. There's a 99-cent fee for each item sold. You can become a professional seller, and you'll want to become a professional seller if you are selling more than 40 items a month. But professional sellers then pay they pay $40 a month, and there's no additional fee for any items sold after that. So if you find yourself consistently selling over 40 items a month, you might consider becoming a professional seller. There's referral fees, which are fees that once an item is sold, depending on what category that item is within, if it's in electronics or if it's within clothing, they will charge a percentage for that. For users out there who purchase those items, there's a certain percentage tacked on to the other as well. If you're selling books and you're renting books out there, there's a rental book service fee, there's closing fees, there's high volume listing fees, and a refund administration fee. So you'll want to look at the costs when you go to sell items over Amazon to see what are going to be specific to you, your particular product or service. Amazon had a great cost calculator on their site, and they just took it down for whatever reason. I don't know. Hopefully they'll bring it back up again, but that enabled clients to go in, put in, this is what I'm selling. And it would tell you what category it fell under, what percentage they would hold back for a referral fee, as well as shipping fees associated with it as well. So hopefully they'll bring that back online again. So people use Amazon for hard goods selling. They also do some services selling, but it's predominantly hard goods selling. People use it for brand recognition. If I'm on Amazon, Amazon is like the good housekeeping seal of approval. People have just grown to trust Amazon. They have used it. They have friends that have used it. So if you're on the Amazon platform, then it's like getting the good housekeeping seal of approval. It's a very trusted source. They have outsourced fulfillment. They have the ability to take and to package and ship and provide customer service and refund capabilities, credit card processing for users out there. There's greater traffic. There's hundreds of millions of people that are on Amazon every single day. And so if I'm on that platform, it gives me exposure out there to come. And people are going to come searching. So if they find you and they find your storefront, they're already a conditioned buyer because they're searching for that good or service that has brought them to your store. They've got global reach. They are a trusted brand, and then, as I mentioned, a highly trafficked site. So before we go on to eBay, is there any questions, Teresa, about Amazon at all?
Yeah. Can you explain again what the referral fee is?
Yes. So the referral fee is when you sell a product or service. So say you're selling a piece of electronics, and say that piece of electronics sells for $200. They're going to hold back a certain percentage of that price as their referral fee, and it may be 10 or 15% that they hold back for what they consider as getting people to purchase your particular item. So it's how they make their money, is through referral fees. So it's something to consider, that when you're pricing an item, you want to ensure that you build in enough margin to cover for the referral fees. And I can put into chat, if people are interested in more detailed discussion of the costs, I could put that in chat.
Do you know how much customer service they offer if the fulfillment is by the seller for returns and refunds?
Yeah, they're still going to provide customer service for any kind of dispute resolution. They're going to take that customer service, but they are most likely going to refer it out because because the item was fulfilled. It's out of their control. The item is fulfilled by the seller, so they need to get the consumer over to the seller to resolve the dispute. But if it's fulfilled by Amazon, then they handle everything.
I've heard writers who sell their works on Amazon that their profits are in cents. For a small business, is it even possible to have a business on Amazon that does more than break even?
Wow, that's a great question. It all depends on how popular your product is. It's going to depend on visibility, if people are able to find you. As in the traditional sense, just as people have to advertise and get the word out and let people know about their product or service, the same holds true within e-commerce. And so people will use social media. They'll use email. They'll do email campaigns. They'll use social media. You can advertise within Amazon, but it's a large and a vast platform with an amazing array of products and services, and so you never know until you try. And the great thing is, they've put out a very low barrier of entry if all you're doing is trying them out, and you're not signing a lease with a storefront. You're setting up a storefront. If it doesn't work, you can bring it down. You can, if you decided to reconfigure and bring it back up again, you can bring it back up again. So there's that capability. There's that great flexibility within Amazon, as well as the other e-commerce platforms, to do that.
And this question actually goes back to the first section. What's the difference between e-commerce and mobile e-commerce?
E-commerce is kind of the blanket term for all of e-commerce, but e-commerce, generally speaking, means, and where it came from, is I was purchasing items from a desktop computer. And I would come to a website or I'd come to a marketplace, and Amazon is a marketplace. And I would come there and I would do my purchasing over a desktop computer or a laptop computer. Now, with the proliferation of mobile devices, you have the ability to do that same kind of commerce, that same kind of e-commerce over mobile devices. So mobile e-commerce refers to the commerce being done over mobile devices.
Okay, that's all the questions that relate to what we've talked about so far.
All right, these are great questions. Please keep them coming. Okay, eBay. We didn't have anybody that mentioned eBay that they did purchasing. eBay is in one of the top 10 e-commerce sites in the world. And a lot of times when people think of eBay, they think about, isn't it that classified ad where people put things that they want to get out of their garage or out of their attic, they put them out there on eBay? The answer is yes. But it's more than that. They facilitate not only consumer to consumer, but business to consumer sales through their website. They manage the website. They provide online auctions, but they also provide shopping in which people and businesses can buy and sell a wide variety of goods and services worldwide. They also are on a global marketplace. The website is free to use for buyers, but sellers are charged fees for listing items after a limited number of free listings, and again, when those items are sold. So if we just take a look at it, if you've not been in eBay for a while, you'll see, gee, this looks a lot like Amazon. I've got a search bar at the top. I've got categories underneath here. I've got pictures and videos and sales and all things e-commerce are showing up on the eBay site. In fact, it looks more like a retail platform than it does people selling stuff themselves. And once people, go in, click on a particular site, they get similar descriptions. They get the ability to pay with their credit card. They get pricing information. And they get, how many items has been sold. They get feedback. And I want to show you, they also have the ability to rate sellers. See if I can get to one of those. So you can see this person selling English teacups. It's just a private sale or just a consumer to consumer sale. They've rated it here. This person's got 100% positive feedback. So they give the buyer protection against the seller, and then eBay at the same time protects the seller against fraudulent buyers. So eBay's got a powerful search engine. They provide the ability to auction items. You can set for what you want the item to sell for, and then you can set a time limit, and then people can auction and people can bid for that particular item. This comes in for anybody that's selling, rare items or collectibles. eBay could be an interesting platform, a very good platform to test market, to take something and put it out there and to see what kind of action will I get from buyers that are out there on eBay right now. They have a buy it now feature. The buy it now feature says, I don't want to go through the auction. I think it's a fair price. I want the item now, so I'll just go ahead and buy it, and so they can purchase it now. They also offer listings as well as seller protection, and they have a mixture of both stores and consumers that are selling. And you can see when we were out on the eBay site, we had Adidas sneakers being sold by a store, and then we had teacups being sold by an individual. But they just were side by side from each other. And so again, people that are out searching for particular items, maybe it's collectibles, maybe it's a rare item. If they find it on eBay, they may find it with a small business or an individual. But eBay can be great for test marketing your items that are out there. The cost to the seller, the first 250 listings are free per month, and then it's a 35-cent charge per listing thereafter. They have also a referral fee that they call a final value fee, which is a percentage of the total amount of the sale, usually 10 to 15%, based on, again, the category. And they're adjusting categories all the time, and they're based on popularity of that particular items within that particular category. So if electronics get hot, they'll hold a higher percentage for electronic sales. If clothing gets hot, they'll hold a higher percentage for clothing. And they also charge 30 cents per order. So use cases, what types of people would use eBay? Well, again, people that are selling hard goods, because it gives me the ability to take my item and to show it via photograph or via video. But I also have the ability to set up an auction. I have the ability to put an item out there and see what kind of action I get off of it. So, and this can help people with pricing strategies. They may say, I'm not really sure what I should charge for this particular item. Well, I could put that item out there on eBay as an auction and see what kind of price I get from it. And that could help create a pricing strategy. They're on a global platform. They're self-governing. They take very good care of protecting the buyers. They also take very good care of protecting the sellers. And the reason that eBay works is because people follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules, they're quickly taken off of eBay. And so it's done well because of the fact that it governs itself so well. And as I mentioned before, collectibles, rare goods, eBay is a great platform for those kind of items. The benefits, eBay's well known. A lot of people have heard of eBay. They may have used eBay. A lot of people don't realize that eBay has stores that you can go into the stores on eBay. They outsource fulfillment as well. Well, they'll provide that service to the seller. They've got a domestic and international reach. There's an opportunity to bid up products. And it's for those kinds of shoppers out there who prefer marketplaces, people that like to bargain or people that like to go out and to be flexible with pricing. And one of the things you can do as well within eBay is if you have questions about a particular item, you can ask the seller about an item and get responses back before you make your final purchase or before you put your bid in. Okay, that's eBay. Do we have any questions, Teresa, about eBay?
I don't have any eBay specific questions. I have a WooCommerce question. You want me to save that?
Yeah, why don't we save that one to the end?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Shopify. Shopify is interesting. The first two.
You need to go back to your presentation. We're seeing eBay screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay. So if we talk about Shopify, Shopify is different from Amazon and eBay. Amazon, eBay, marketplaces. So when you think about those platforms, you think about it's a marketplace. Shopify is an e-commerce enabler. They're subscription-based software that allows anyone to set up an online store and sell their products. They're very good at providing a suite of services that includes payments and marketing and shipping and customer engagement tools. They also provide the ability for people that have brick and mortar stores to integrate the inventory, not only with their brick and mortar inventory, but also online as well. So people can purchase items in person, they can purchase it online, and the inventory is integrated between the two, which is a really nice feature. And it has 1.77 million businesses in approximately 175 countries using its platform. So again, Shopify is big. We're talking about big platforms when we talk about these particular platforms. The key elements of Shopify, you've got an online store, you've got point of sale, there's a buy button, check out sales channels, you can do a wholesale marketplace, you can create a custom storefront, and you can utilize the Shopify App Store so that it can integrate with other tools that are out there. So let's just take a look at Shopify if you've never seen it. You come in here, they start you out with a free trial. You can actually start and set up your own store. And if you don't like it, you can bring it down, no charge. They don't even ask you for a credit card up front. So you could play around and set up a store for yourself. What I want to do is just show a couple of examples.
We're still seeing the Shopify slide, not the.
I did it again, didn't I? Okay, this is an interesting example of Shopify this particular person integrating video with their storefront. You can see they're selling books, they're selling subscriptions, they're selling renewals. They've got all sorts of information, and they've got video here. This looks just like a website, but this is actually a Shopify site. Shopify enables them to put different items across the top that they can put in, and they could stick in a blog if they wanted to put in a blog. Here's another site selling pet food. They put in their products, their story, the ingredients, how to find them, their blog. Again, this looks very much like a website, but this is all on Shopify. So it's all hosted up in the cloud. So there's failover in case of disruption. Shopify is managing the sites on behalf of their sellers that are out there. Okay, costs for Shopify. If you go with just a basic Shopify site, it's $29 a month. So again, a relatively low barrier of entry to come in and to use Shopify. They have what they call Shopify Plus, or Shopify, which is $79 a month, comes with more features and functionality. Then there's Advanced Shopify, which is $299 a month, which is for your larger enterprises that want to utilize the Shopify platform. They offer shipping discounts up to 88%. And there's additional fees, as usual, as we've seen in the others, for online credit card rates, in-person credit and debit card rates, and a transaction fee if they're not using, if the seller's not using Shopify payments feature. So again, the use cases, people use it for brand building. They use it for an online presence. They use it for store creation. They use it to get greater control over their storefront, and they use it to showcase products and projects. And it's a great place for press releases. You can put press releases out there, and it's a great way to reach a younger demographic. So lots of good benefits associated with Shopify. Teresa, are there any questions on Shopify?
Yeah. Do you link your call for action, your buy it now, so to speak, on your website to Shopify?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And can a person use Shopify on Amazon and eBay?
Yes, they can. They can integrate it with Amazon and eBay as well as Facebook.
Do you have to own a website to use them?
No, you can actually have that be your website.
Okay. And can you link a service company to it?
Absolutely. The thing about service companies, and the reason you don't see a lot of services in the marketplace, is because of the fact that it has to be transactional. If you've got a particular service that's transactional in nature, that you can put a price on, it's going to have better success than if you are a type of service company where you maybe have to consult and come in and talk to them and create a statement of work. So you don't see a lot of professional services on these platforms, but certainly other kinds of services that are transactional, by all means, you can do it.
And is there a limit of items to be sold with the per month fee?
No, you can have unlimited amount of products within Shopify.
That's all the Shopify questions.
All right. So moving on to Etsy. Etsy is a site that's just grown by leaps and bounds. It's really come out of nowhere. It's become a major player within the e-commerce arena. It's an online marketplace, but it's where independent crafters and artists and collectors can sell vintage, handmade and custom-made jewelry, clothing, home decor, etc. So it competes with Shopify and Amazon, but it's carved out a corner of its market, and an interesting statistic that over 80% of its seller pool are women. So very much of a niche platform for people to come, and they've really catered to providing a good environment for women to sell goods and services. They're focused on handmade or vintage items and craft supplies. Any vintage item needs to be at least 20 years old. And everything on the site is made or collected or curated and sold by its sellers. And we'll just take a quick look at Etsy here just to give you an idea of what it looks like. All right, so again, Etsy, very similar. I've got a search bar across the top. I've got highlighted products and services down here. I've got categories across the top where I can put my goods and services. All sorts of specials. They're running a lot of specials, not only for Valentine's Day, but for Black Awareness Month as well. Someone want to give me something in the chat of a kind of a little bit of more of an unknown product or service, and we'll see if it's in Etsy. Something
I actually
more
had
crafty.
something that was put into the Q&A. It said pearls from Africa.
Pearls from Africa?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. Pearls from Africa. My gosh, there's pearls. Now, did we exactly get pearls from Africa? Well, we're getting close. We're getting seashell African trade beads. They're not pearls, but they are certainly trying. The machine language and artificial intelligence that sit behind these platforms try to interpret as best they can and deliver back what people are looking for. And if not, they offer other items as a potential for that as well. So pearls from Africa. I'm curious. I'm just wondering, does that show up in eBay? eBay has 1.6 billion products on its platform. Okay, we got a pendant necklace. We got pearls from Ghana. We got a country. Okay. We've got earrings. We've got some other pearls here as well. So there you go. The power of the search engine. And again, if your particular site is on there, then all the more possible that consumer is going to find you and come to your website or purchase it from the platform from your store. So the Etsy platform is a marketplace as well. It provides listings. It has seller services. It's got third-party payment processors. And it also provides a platform for advertising. Creating a shop on Etsy is free. However, each listing that's posted in the shop costs 20 cents. And each listing will remain on the shop's page for a maximum of 4 months or until someone buys the product. And the prices are set by the shop owner, but again, Etsy keeps a percentage of the final sales price for each listing and a 5% postal fee. So you can see things are hovering. They can be anywhere from 5 to 15%, depending on, it's not unlike, again, in a brick and mortar world, if you had a particular item and you didn't have a store, but you wanted to sell it through a store, people would give you the ability to come in, sell your product, but it would be on consignment. And so if somebody purchased that particular item, the store owner would hold a certain percentage of the item, and you would get a certain percentage of the item. So in some ways, you're consigning your goods and services to these platforms. When you make the sale, the platform then withholds a percentage of the sale as a cost of doing business and within their platform. Again, Etsy, primarily selling hard goods. If you have a niche item, or if you have an item that's vintage or rare or collectible, you could consider eBay. You could also consider Etsy. eBay allows you to kind of put stuff out there and leave it out there longer than Etsy allows you to do. But Etsy is, again, people that are coming into that platform are already conditioned. They're looking for something different. They're looking for something crafty. They're looking for something handmade. They're looking for something rare and vintage. So it's not unlike being in a specialty mall. I could be in Amazon, which is the Mall of America, or I could be in Etsy, which is the mall, which is like a not unlike a flea market, where I know if I go into a flea market or a craft show, I know I'm going to be going in and looking for crafts. People coming into Etsy are already conditioned to be looking for crafts and handmade items. It caters to a discerning customer base, and it's an up and coming e-commerce platform. What may happen, one of the trends that's happening within e-commerce today is the big players are getting bigger, but in some ways are almost getting to be too big. And so people are looking for alternatives that are smaller in nature, because if they're smaller in nature, they're going to have a better chance of being found and being searched and discovered. And so Etsy provides one of those kind of platforms, not as big as the big players, still big, not as big as the big players, but you're going to perhaps see more niche players come on the scene as we move forward in e-commerce. Any questions on Etsy, Teresa?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to answer these, but do you know how the products are chosen for the categories in Etsy? Like, for example, gifts for him. Is that an advertising thing you pay for, or?
It'll be part of when you go to list an item. They're going to ask you, what category do you want this to be listed within?
Do you know if men shop on Etsy as much as women?
They do, but if you go by the numbers, they're saying 20% do. You know, men, I don't want to get stereotypical here, but, you know, men, electronics, hard goods, not so inclined towards handmade craft items until you have holidays like birthdays and Valentine's Day and Christmas and holidays, and Mother's Day, which is coming up. Then men tend to be a little bit more adventurous too, but not so much as a general rule. But I'll stop there because I may get myself in trouble.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. So Facebook, people don't realize Facebook actually has a marketplace. It's housed within the Facebook platform. The strategy in doing this is not only to compete with other e-commerce platforms, but Facebook strives to get people to stay within the platform. So the more reasons I give people out there, consumers out there, a reason to stay within Facebook, then it's to my advantage to do so. And so they've created a marketplace that primarily caters to business to consumer, because again, Facebook is primarily a business to consumer environment. But if we were to take a look at the Facebook here, I go to the Facebook homepage. And you go to Marketplace. I see goods and services, not as polished, not really as polished as you've seen with the other platforms. I mean, yes, it's items that are out there, but it's a little bit haphazard. Kind of gives me the impression of being a bit of a classified ad. It looks like people trying to sell stuff, again, out of their garage or out of their attic. They do give me ability to search, but you know, it just doesn't give me a lot of warm and fuzzies to say that, can I really trust this item that's being sold out there? And so the reason that Facebook is in this deck is simply because it's Facebook. And anything that Facebook does, you just have to pay attention to it because they have so much clout within the social media space. They're gonna put, you know that eventually they're gonna put a lot of money and effort behind the marketplace to make it better than it is. And so it's worthy just to know that it's there. to know that it can be used. And it's, primarily to put listings out there. People that can come in, they can browse, they can do live shopping, they get notifications. There's a seller dashboard, there's promotions. You can advertise through Facebook as well. Their costs, they charge 5% per shipment, or a flat fee of 40 cents if the shipment is of $8 or less. That includes taxes, it includes the cost of payment processing. It applies to all the checkout transactions for product categories on Facebook and Instagram. And if a customer files a chargeback, Facebook will place a hold on the transaction until the chargeback is resolved. Any fees you incur will appear in your financial reports. They've got a very low barrier of entry, but in some ways you kind of get what you pay for. Whereas if you don't mind being in that kind of marketplace, which is a little bit disorganized, not as well polished as Amazon or eBay, then it's worthy to investigate, simply because if you're doing your social media or if you're doing advertising on Facebook, then by all means you should be within the marketplace, so you can point people directly to the marketplace. Some use cases: business to consumer sales. It's classified goods for sale. It's selling with photos and videos. It's great for reaching billions of potential customers. It's also international in scope. It's a captive audience. Again, people that are in Facebook, Facebook is so huge that to some people, Facebook is the internet. All they know is Facebook. That's where they spend the bulk of their time. And so you've got a captive audience there. As long as they're there, why not sell to them? And it's easy to access from the Facebook platform. Teresa, any questions on Facebook?
Not on Facebook specifically, no.
Okay. So Google, a lot of people don't know Google has a marketplace. They have a service which allows users to search for products on online shopping websites and compare prices between different vendors. It's free, but it requires a personal Google account in order to purchase from the platform. In addition to shopping from well-known online stores, users can shop with confidence at lesser-known online stores when they choose to buy directly on Google, which includes a Google-backed guarantee. And their guarantee includes customer support, available 7 days a week, added assistance if the order is late, and if something is wrong with the shipment, or if something's wrong with the shipment, and to simplify the return and refund process regardless of the seller. So to get to Google Shopping, you first have to go to Google. Let me go to Google search here for a minute. So when you're in the Google search window, you can get to shopping one of two ways. One is
we're still on your slides.
Thank you. So when we get to the Google window, we can search or get to Google Shopping in one of two ways. We can search. What was that great black pearls from Africa, or pearls from Africa?
Pearls from Africa, yeah.
I put a search in for pearls from Africa. It comes up across here, but if I want to go shopping within Google, I can hit the shopping sign up here, and it brings me in. And I see a variety of choices based on my search and what I'm searching for. It also allows me to come in, see the particular page, and it's linking me out. The difference here is that Google has now linked me out to a website. So I think one of the questions that somebody had recently is the interface between Shopify and Google. Can we do that? Yes, you can do that, because what Google is doing through their shopping experience is linking people out to a website, and then they can order directly from the provider that's out there. So Google, best known for searching. Again, the number one search engine in the world. 90% of all searches come through Google. There's any number of billions of search transactions that are going on a daily basis. So if you get discovered within Google Shopping, then that brings them directly to your website, which is great because then you've got the best captive audience in that they're now at your website and you can sell very directly to them. So they've got a merchant center. They've got support out there for people that want to sell. They also provide listings. They've got smart shopping campaigns where people can set up and do particular campaigns around particular items and get people to drive to their websites through searching and smart shopping campaigns. They also have Google Ads. You can advertise on Google itself. They've got best practices support and 7x24 customer support. They have 0% commission fee for selling on Google through their shopping actions in the US. When somebody clicks on your site, so they're searching, they see you on shopping, when they click that item and go to your website, that's when you're going to pay Google, is for the individual who clicked out of Google to come to your website. And it averages around $2.69 for that as well. They have an auction feature as well. They have an auction feature within their advertising that can drive prices higher on a cost per click. That's dependent upon factors such as the type of industry, current trends, and product and service costs. So look very closely at the Google Ads terms and conditions so you have a very good understanding of what you're likely to be paying when using Google Shopping and having them click over to your website. If you're just starting to run Google Ads, it's just a good idea to begin conservatively. The best way to ensure you don't overspend on Google Ads is to start with a low daily budget. Google far and away gets their revenues from advertising. And so they are always looking for ways for companies or for their company to drive advertising revenues. And so shopping is just another way of getting them to get people who come into Google. They can provide a marketplace, they can provide options and with pictures, and then get people to click and go to your website directly from that particular picture. So use cases, if I have a website out there and I want to drive eyeballs to my website, I can consider doing Google Ads to try to do that. I can consider using Google Shopping and setting up within Google Shopping because maybe what I have to offer is something that's suitable for e-commerce, and so I want to get them over to my site. I want to be able to provide pictures for them to be able to do that. Showcasing. It's a way to showcase products while buyers are searching and researching. Again, you don't have to put up your whole product portfolio. You just have to put up, you could test market different products. And it's a way to create awareness through online advertising through Google Ads. The benefits, it's the #1 driver of business to retail sales. It's the first place shoppers go to discover a new item or product. And Google Shopping is one of 8 properties. Google also owns YouTube, for instance. It's only one of 8 properties that each have 1 billion users each. So once you're in the Google ecosystem, and as Google continues to integrate its different properties within each other, it's opportunity for greater exposure. It's like what you're seeing within Facebook right now and their purchase of Instagram. They have integrated more and more features between Instagram and Facebook, and you can actually even purchase through Instagram now, although consequently, you can purchase through your phone only. For some reason, I can't purchase through Instagram from my laptop computer. I have to be on a phone or a tablet to be able to do it. Google has global reach. and it's got broader distribution. So it's a way to sell outside of your addressable market. It's a way to get your product or service out there, and you never know where it's going to go. When things get on the internet, they get passed around, they get forwarded, and then suddenly you find yourself getting business from way outside of your addressable market. So as we look at the big six, what's the same? They all provide listings. They all provide advertising options because that's how they're driving their revenue. Most of them provide fulfillment, and you can outsource fulfillment. Most provide returns and shipping and credit card transactions, and all are big and getting bigger because society and culture just continues to embrace e-commerce. And with this next generation coming through, it's even more so. It's always, I've got 2 adult children, and I always am amazed at how quickly they will go to an e-commerce platform to purchase something and the types of things they'll purchase. They'll purchase right down to laundry detergent. I say, why don't you just go pick that up at the store? I said, oh, it's easier. I'll just do it off of Amazon. And so it's quite interesting to see the behaviors that are changing out there among consumers. Well, what's different? Amazon's a trusted provider with a very high user volume. They are extremely customer centric. They know their reputation rides on how good people feel about their customer experience. And so they hand over hands ensure that people have a good customer experience when they come into the Amazon platform. eBay provides both an auction and a sales price option. Shopify provides an easy storefront setup and outsourced fulfillment. Etsy provides reach to niche markets. Facebook primarily focused on the individual consumer, and Google drives traffic to the client's website. Let me pause there for a second and just see, Teresa, if we had any other questions come in.
Yeah, on the price per click, it sounds like it get really expensive. What do you mean to say to start with a daily budget if we're not in control of how many times we're clicked?
Yeah, you could start with a daily budget, and what they could do is they can take down that particular link to linking out to your site. As part of the feature, one of the things you do when you set up the Google Shop.
Okay. If the same person clicks on your product multiple times in a certain time period, are you charged for each click?
I believe they track it by the IP address. So unless they're changing IP addresses to go from site to site, you're not going to be charged for that if somebody keeps continually clicking on your site.
I think that's all the Google questions. Do you want me to start getting into the other questions, or?
Let me go right to the end, and then we'll take the rest. How's that?
Okay, great.
So when you think about leveraging the different platforms, if you want to be associated with the world's largest e-commerce site, you'll want to consider Amazon as a top priority. It's not inexpensive. I'll say that. It's not inexpensive, but it is an opportunity to be part of the largest e-commerce site that's out there. And when you say that you're available on Amazon, people just know that it's trusted, that they can trust the product or service that you're selling because of the great service they get from Amazon. If you want to auction items as well as sell items, if you want to test market a product, if you want to do pricing strategy, you might consider eBay as a platform. You don't have to put up your whole product inventory. You could just take some select items, say I'll put them out there on eBay. I'll see what kind of traction I get, and then maybe I can experiment with maybe sale prices. If I have to reduce my price, I could see what works out there. If you want a turnkey storefront with a back-end fulfillment and support, you'll want to consider Shopify as a top priority. Again, Shopify, my e-commerce site can be my website. I can not only educate people, but when they come into my site, but I can also sell to them as well. If you offer a consumer-oriented product, you'll want to consider using Facebook. Although I must admit, I am underwhelmed and frankly a little surprised that they're not a little better look and feel to the marketplace site on Facebook. And I'd say it's just a matter of time that they're going to come in and really revamp that and make it a better experience. If you want to drive business to your website, if you have a website that's out there and you want just another way of driving traffic to your website, Google Ads certainly is a way to do that. Google Shopping is another way to do that. Google Shopping gets your particular item in front of the consumer. And if they're clicking on it, hopefully, again, they're not just browsing, but they're in a condition to want to purchase because they've already compared you with your competition out there because they could see the pricing. And so hopefully when they come into your website, they're already conditioned to purchase from you. If you want to reach a niche market, you want to consider Etsy as a top priority. So where do I go? How do I choose? With limited resources, small businesses are wise to do the research to determine which provider will give them the biggest bang for their buck. That's really what it comes down to. You know, we'd love to be on all of these different platforms. We'd love to have all of our product inventory up on all these different platforms, but that would be extremely expensive. Only the large enterprise firms that are out there have the luxury of being able to be on multiple platforms. Decide first whether you want to build your own or leverage a platform. Decide whether you want to be on your own as a storefront or whether you want to be in a mall, be within a marketplace. Decide whether you want to be in a retail environment or whether you want to be in more of a flea market environment, a craft environment. Define your addressable market is what you want to do. Try to understand who's going to be most attracted to your product or service that you have to offer. Determine how visual your product or service needs to be. Within e-commerce, people today not only need to see the item, one of the things that's gaining in popularity is videos of the item. They want to see the item being used. And not only that, in addition to videos just to show the product, they're actually putting up video reviews. There are people out there who do nothing but create video reviews of products on Amazon, so that people go, they could see all the information, they can get the description, they can see the pictures, but when they watch the video, sometimes that's the thing that clinches the deal and gets them to buy the product or service. Decide how you want your goods fulfilled and your payments processed, because that will drive your decision-making process as well. As we think of the future, where are we going? Where is e-commerce going? One of the things that's coming on the horizon is voice shopping. And the ability for me to speak within particularly my mobile device. I go in and do searching on my mobile device and not only get the information verbally, but when the information comes back, I'm able to listen to and to hear and via audio, a description of the product or service. And so that's something that's on the rise, a little easier to work with than video, and it just enhances the customer experience. Artificial intelligence and augmented reality, the enhanced customer experience, it's everywhere. It's behind all of these different platforms. They all try to use machine learning to understand your buying habits, to understand your viewing habits, and to serve up goods and services that are in line with what you're searching for. So that is going to continue to just expand and become refined. It'll become better, and hopefully it's going to enhance the customer experience. Mobile commerce, we talked about earlier, the shift from desktop to portable device. Marketing automation, email and multi-channel tasks, the ability now to send out rich text emails that help have customers interact with the email and come directly to websites through rich visuals is something that is on the rise. Multi-channel or omni-channel is a buzzword that's out there, where I take my information and my products, my services, I broadcast them out over Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and a variety of different channels out there just to get my visibility of my product or service. Enhanced visuals to support the brand, video marketing, Again, we talked about that, how you present your products using video. A dynamic pricing where, again, these tools are allowing people to say, let's put a price out there. If the item isn't sold within a matter of time, let's reduce the price. Or let's take a look at this price across the other categories. And if the other categories reduce their prices, let's reduce our prices. We talked about omni-channel shopping, the seamless experience between platforms. Right now, these platforms, I got to click from one site to the next site to the next site. Pretty soon, there will be the ability to go from a Facebook experience over to an Amazon experience, over to a Google experience, over to a Shopify experience seamlessly without having to go between platforms. Sustainability. The younger generation that's coming through wants to know that the vendors that are out there selling their goods and services are sustainable. And they want to know that they're concerned about the environment. Etsy in particular makes a statement within their site to let people know that we are all for small businesses out there. As a matter of fact, they raised $4.8 billion in sales for small businesses through their platform. And their platform wants to be sustainable. They want to get down to zero carbon emissions by 2030. Those kinds of sustainability verbiage resonate with the younger generation coming through. They want to know that the companies coming around tomorrow are going to be sustainable. As we look further into the future, one of the things that's coming on the scene is this thing called the metaverse. The metaverse is the next thing coming to e-commerce. It's a hypothesized iteration of the internet, supporting persistent online 3D visual environments through conventional personal computing, as well as visual and augmented reality headsets. It's beyond the internet. It's coming in the next 5 years. It's so important that Facebook has changed its name to Meta. Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Google are all pouring billions of dollars into development, and it will change the buyer and seller experience. The biggest thing impeding the progress of the metaverse right now is the adoption of the headsets and special glasses that are needed in order to experience virtual reality or augmented reality. It's only a matter of time that they will create devices that enable people. What this is immersive technology. It immerses people into the e-commerce experience. It gets you that much closer to a brick and mortar experience where I could virtually come into a store. I could see items within a store. There would be somebody standing behind the counter who would be able to take my questions and answer my questions for me and give me pricing on different and particular items. It's something that the e-commerce platforms that are out there are salivating over. They see it as just another reason to drive traffic to their platforms. And so they're putting billions of dollars into it. And you say 5 years, I'm not so sure. Well, if we think what's here today that wasn't here 5 years ago, and we think about driverless cars are here today. They weren't here 5 years ago. Electric vehicles, here today, weren't here as much as they are 5 years ago. If we think about Uber here today that wasn't here as big, it's only a matter of time that some of these technologies will come on the scene. They'll eliminate the barriers of entry and people will become adopters of the new technology. And so people that are in the e-commerce arena need to be thinking about how would my product or service sell within the metaverse, and can I take advantage of the metaverse? All right, I'm done with my comments, and Teresa, let's take a look at some of those questions that have come in.
Okay, Craigslist, is that considered an e-commerce platform, and what are your thoughts about using it?
Yeah, I can say it's still got kind of that classified look and feel to it. I consider it kind of a competitor to Facebook Marketplace. It's an opportunity for people to put classified ads out there, but I don't necessarily consider it. I mean, it's an e-commerce platform in the sense that I can see a good or service and I can purchase something.
I know we've talked about selling services. So this person is selling an online teacher support offering. Is there really a place for that, or is that something they need to talk with a SCORE mentor about?
Yeah, I would talk to your SCORE mentor. Those kinds of services, what I would be doing is I would be looking towards social media and getting visibility of those kind of services out on social media, unless what you offer is transactional in nature. Meaning, if you've put together an offering, and if it's a tutorial, for instance, and you charge $100 for that particular tutorial. If it's a product, that they can, even though it's a service, it really is kind of a product, then you can consider e-commerce platforms. But I would be looking towards social media and a way to get your visibility out on that.
Okay. And this is a question that really hasn't been touched on at all. And I'm not sure if you want to handle it or have that go to a SCORE mentor, but how do you get a reseller's license, and how do I collect sales tax, and how do I pay those sales tax?
That was on which platform? I'm sorry.
There isn't. It's not specific.
Oh, you've really got to look into each of the individual platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure what that's referring to. I've heard competitors can hire people overseas for little money to go and click on your cost per click advertising to make your company's ad campaign extremely costly. Have you ever heard of that, and how can you prevent that from happening?
Wow, that's hopefully that's happening to nobody on this call. It's just something you've got to monitor. If you see, you could always see where traffic is coming from. And if you see that traffic is coming from overseas, they have the ability to block different countries for that traffic coming into their site.
Okay. There's some comments by an anonymous person. I'm not sure which question they go with. Just to let that person know, I don't know how to ask that. There's a detailed question about their products and which platforms. I'm going to suggest that that's probably a really good conversation to have one-on-one with a mentor. Maybe not quite to address here. So I think that covers all the questions that we have. Yeah, I think that covers all the questions. So I'll keep watching in case somebody submits one here real quick. But I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, and thank Rob for a great presentation full of lots of information. Yes, you can see the recording. Let me post that back. Oh, I accidentally clicked on it. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to actually paste that recording link back into the chat in case you missed it. That's where you can find it. Let's see, reposted my question. Somebody's asking the difference between the $79 and the $29 on Shopify.
Yeah, the $79 Shopify comes with a little bit more features and benefits than the $29. The $29 one is really your entry level point.
So you kind of have to go through that listing and determine what is best for your situation.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think. Okay. Yeah, the link is in chat. And if you can't find that in the chat, just go to the boston.score.org website, click on workshops, and you'll see a link to previously recorded webinars, and that's where they're all held. Sometimes it takes me 24 to 48 hours to get those posted, and obviously since we're heading into the weekend, it might not be there until Monday because I do have to wait for Zoom to process that. Okay, I think we're done now. Okay, I think we've got everybody.
Just one last comment, Teresa.
Yes, please.
For those, my gift to you, thank you so much for coming out this afternoon to be part of this webinar. My gift to you is that I am putting together a buying guide. Goes into a little bit more detail about each of the different platforms that we talked about today. It'll be coming out in March. If you'd like to get a copy of electronic copy of that, just put your email in the chat window and I'll be sure to send you one.
Okay, we'll give you a few minutes to do that.
And it looks
capture
like
that information.
Was there a question that didn't get asked, or maybe it did?
Okay, I'm just working on capturing the emails in the chat there for us. Make sure I got everybody that's requesting. So we got some in the Q&A. I have to grab those before I close or we won't be able to capture them later. So just bear with me as I go through and try and get them, everyone that's posted. Okay, I think I got everybody. Right. Okay, all right. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.